We've been linked a lot since we last did a gutter to Aleksander Isak at Newcastle. Now, he's torn up trees this season. He has 23 goals and 5 assists in 33 appearances. I don't know what that translates to as goals per minute. It's probably a goal every 110-ish minutes, I think, if I remember the numbers on it. It's pretty darn high. He's transformed himself from an interesting player who got a lot of injuries to one who now seems to mainly stay fit and score goals and has proven he can do it in the Premier League, Josh Williams. Well, you give me your opinion, I'll give you mine.
On the player?
Yeah.
I think he's brilliant.
And in the context of would you have him for Liverpool?
Yeah, I think he's a serious player. Like, he doesn't seem to have very many weaknesses to me. Good height, quick, can drop deeper and actually link the player without getting a nosebleed.
Did you know Santi Robbo laced him for pace at Wembley?
I did see. Yeah,
what was that all about?
I did see that. Yeah. So
he's got a little burst on him when he wants, Andy Robbo.
I said that at the time to the person I was with. I was like, Isak's just got burnt there by Robertson, who's like 48 now. That's not a good sign. So maybe he's not that quick, but he's quick enough.
Yeah.
He can do bits out wide as well, if you need him to.
Yes.
Whereas I think if Haaland drifts out wide, if Núñez drifts out wide, I think it looks a bit weird. So I think tactically he doesn't really limit you. You know, you can do lots with him. His goal scoring record's good. His ability to strike the ball and his finishing is top quality from what I've seen. Can dribble as well. So I haven't got many issues at all with the player. I've got issues with the price. And whether Liverpool would do that for a player who doesn't start 38 out of 38 every season. So if you're paying well over 100 million, which is the link, for that player to return that in terms of points, he's got to be on the pitch. And Isak is improving on the pitch with his availability, but I don't think it's obviously not Salah Van Dijk, is it? So how do you justify paying that much? Like, is he gonna
There's
really...
big downside to this transfer. There's big downside to this transfer if he picks up injuries.
Yeah, I think it's all about mitigating risk, basically. And Liverpool took a high-risk bet with Núñez. You know, gambled on him, paid a lot of money for him, and the gamble hasn't paid off. You have to eat some of the contract when you sell him and all that stuff. I think with Isak, it feels like there's no risk if you just focus on what the player can do on the pitch, because he's brilliant. But there's a risk when it comes to just, will he pay us back on the pitch through the currency of points? And I've got a slight, that's a lot of money. It's a ton of money, that. And with the nerds now in charge, that'll be the line of thinking.
And I wonder if because of the nerds, like, they'll have a bit of data on the injury stuff. Like, I think I've said in a couple of guts already, I think the injury stuff is a little overblown when you see Ishak's league record of games. He misses the Liverpool game with a groin injury and plays both games either side of that. So, there's that Eddie Howe quote going around from after the cup final, isn't there, which we've all sort of scoffed at a little bit. But I do genuinely believe he was holding Isak back for the cup final from playing against Liverpool that night. He decided we've got bigger challenges to come. Isak misses one game and then is back in straight away for the next one after. So I do think the injury record is probably a little overblown, and then maybe the nerds at Liverpool going, well, actually we can see that this injury here, for example, he got at Newcastle, and I don't know which one that is, I'm sort of speculating here, but this injury he got at Newcastle was because Newcastle ran him into the red zone because they need to, because he's their best player, whereas we wouldn't necessarily need to, because we're going to bolster out the squad.
Because we play Mo Salah every single fucking game.
Exactly. But we know that Mo Salah is good for 38 games. If they're looking at saying, listen, we don't think Isak is good for 38 games and we don't want to pay £150 million for a player like Josh says, who is not good for 38 games, maybe actually they're looking at it and being like, well, we think he'd be good for 30 if we can manage him in this way, and would we take 30 for 150 million? Again, that remains to be seen, because you're forgetting the fact that Liverpool generally go further into cup competitions than Newcastle do, and have European football to contend with, which this season Newcastle didn't. So I do wonder if Liverpool would look at it and be like, we can actually manage this player better than Newcastle are able to, and that is why we're prepared to stump up more of the money.
Well, let's just look at his injury record. I've just got it up while you were talking, Josh. We'll go back as far as 21-22. Was he at Newcastle in 21-22?
No.
He wasn't at Newcastle. He missed... he had 2 injuries in that season, a hamstring and a knee problem, and he missed 5 games. Nothing too serious. The following season, 22-23, he had thigh problems, plural, it says on Transfermarkt. Missed 107 days, 18 games. That's much more significant.
Yep.
The following season, 23-24, that's last season, he has 2 injuries, both groin injuries, and they kept him out, this is for Newcastle, for a total of 12 matches. I'm not differentiating between league and cup here, I don't know. I presume
it was 6 in the league, three in each of those 2 groin injuries.
6 in the league, it's not 9 days. And then this season, he's had 3 separate injuries: groin, hamstring, broken toe.
But again, groin is only the Liverpool game. It didn't rule
Right,
out
so let's
any
limit
other
that. And
games.
I think broken toe is just unlucky.
Yeah.
Right. So outside of broken toe, which kept him out for 7 games this season, and outside the one where I think Eddie Howe just rests him, he's only missed a game this season. But let's just go back then. Last season, these two games, he's missed 12 games in all. Do we know how many of those were league? Did we say?
From the ones last season,
Yeah.
it was 3 in each, so 6 overall.
6 league games.
Yeah.
It's not terrible that. Mike Kearney. It's not terrible that in terms of his injury. What are your feelings? I mean, the figure getting touted is like 130 million. I think probably he may well go for something like that. Is he a Liverpool buy?
I think the price is very much the reason why we may not. And look, it's apples and oranges in terms of midfield and attack. But the summer before, and the Bellingham conversation, and
But what about Caicedo? We went 112 million on him.
But the nerds weren't in charge. That's the massive thing. Like at that
But
time.
nerds have spent dough.
No.
Alisson, Van
That was Klopp,
Was that-
Schmadtke, and Linders
Right, okay,
in
yeah.
charge, and you bid that for. There's no way Edwards would have done that.
But he did do it for Van Dijk and Alisson.
But they're justifying the difference in terms of points on the pitch
So you
massively.
didn't know that then.
Well, you can forecast that though.
Yeah, but you can with a star striker, can't you? You could
Yeah.
go if you genuinely believe he's the new Torres, say, because he's that kind of elite in terms of his finishing. He's definitely got shades of that.
That's the
kind
thing.
of,
They could argue he's on basically the evidence of his Newcastle career so far. They could argue he's a 20-goal a season striker. At which point, I think you
13 all comps,
you
yeah,
do
every
argue.
year.
that,
I think
very much.
the gamble is, will he give you more games next season than Jota will?
Well,
Oh, of course.
I'd say so, yeah.
Therefore, I think then you lean more to maybe doing the deal.